Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Natalie, and I was selected as the group leader for this project through the process of voting. So first, I'm gonna ask everybody what their name is and where are they from. I'm just gonna go in the list of who is on my screen. So Michael, if you don't mind introducing yourself, that would be great.
Yeah, so I'm Michael Janaki, and I'm from Youngstown, Ohio.
Hi, I'm John Quam, and I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
I'm TJ Schlembo, and I'm from Escanaba, Michigan.
And I am Natalie, and I am from Minerva, Ohio. So the goals of this meeting, and what we are trying to accomplish, TJ, do you mind talking about that?
Yeah, so just kind of getting familiar with each of us, and just kind of like letting everybody know what the expectations are for the assignment in week 5, pretty much.
Cool. Now we're going to go over necessary background information. Michael, it seems like you have a map that you'd like to share of Brazil. Do you mind sharing that with us and talking over it?
Yeah, I do. Let me share my screen here. Can you see my screen? I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so obviously with Brazil, some of you may not know that there are actually 5 different regions. So there's the North region, the Center West region, the Northeast region, the Southeast region, in the South region. And again, different people live in different regions. So again, and with each region, things are done a little bit differently. But we'll talk a little bit more about that in our actual speech.
Awesome job, Michael. John, do you mind talking about how members should participate in the meeting?
Yeah, absolutely. So, kind of as we proceed into discussing the expectations that we have, it's important that we're all on the same page in terms of communicating with both our verbal and nonverbal cues. So, head nods, all that kind of stuff can signal to each other that we're understanding one another, and then the use of those reaction emojis as well can be a good tool to use so we don't interrupt kind of the flow of someone talking, but at the same time be able to show that we're understanding what they're saying.
Awesome. Alrighty. And we, during the meeting, are going to discuss how we will accomplish the group Zoom speech on the Brazil intercultural communication. We're going to set a date and time that works for each individual. I know we're all pretty busy. I think we're all part of sports teams here at Malone for the most part. So we're going to set time to meet during this meeting, and then prior to the meeting, each group member is going to prepare for their part of the speech by doing some of the things that are listed. So we will determine how we will organize and present the speech. John, it looks like you are going to be the first person speaking. So what are you going to do for this presentation?
Yeah, so the kind of the we're each going to take one aspect of Brazil's culture here and kind of talk about that and how we can relate that to intercultural communication. And so what I'll be focusing on is greetings and kind of the aspect of how you can effectively greet other people in a business setting in Brazil.
All right, and Michael, it looks like you're next. What will you be utilizing for this meeting?
Yeah, so I'm basically going to talk about Brazil is a little bit more flexible. They aren't as punctual. So again, in Brazil, many of the meetings do not always start on time. So that's what I'll be talking about.
Awesome. TJ, do you mind explaining what you're going to be presenting?
Yeah, so, totally. So each group member will be responsible for creating and presenting a slide pertaining to their cultural aspect. So for me, I'll be talking about the appearance of what to wear and what not to wear in their country, since in different cultures, it's good to be aware of, like, you don't want to offend people by wearing different clothing that could be offensive to others. So just to be aware of what to and to not wear.
Awesome. And I will be speaking about how Brazil is more of a relationship-based focused environment than more of a task-based, and seeing how well that they survive on that and how important relationships are to them more than the task itself. So as this meeting is closing up and coming to an end, why don't we finish by summarizing everyone's roles and positions? Um, so we need to assign some follow-up actions and what's needed and identify who will do them. John, do you mind explaining that?
Yeah, so just to double check to make sure that I'm understanding everyone here. So we'll each make a slide and use an outside source to kind of support our findings on a cultural aspect of Brazil that's important to consider when thinking about intercultural communication with people from Brazil. So if I'm understanding correctly, Natalie, you're going to be talking about how they're more of a relationship-based culture than a task-based culture. For myself, I'll be talking about what are the proper ways to greet people and things of that nature. TJ, you're kind of going to talk about appearance and how wearing certain things could be considered offensive. And then finally, Michael, you'll talk about how they tend to be more flexible and not quite as punctual with starting things on time because, like Natalie will get into, they're more relationship based, like they want to talk and get to know each other and all that kind of stuff. Does that does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Totally.
Works for me.
Great, great.
Alrighty, well, I thank you guys for your time. And I'm looking forward to meeting with you guys here in the near future, going over Brazil and putting this all together.
Sounds
Great,
good.
thanks,
Yeah,
Natalie.
really looking forward to it, Natalie.
Have a good night, guys.
You too.
You too.
You too.